This is Colin Moriarty from Sacred Symbols, a PlayStation podcast, the best PlayStation podcast on the entire internet. If you're looking for a different PlayStation podcast to listen to than mine, you probably want to listen to podcasts Beyond! But if you need a PlayStation podcast even after that, then you're in the right place for PlayStation Experience. Have yourselves a very good time.
Welcome to the land of long-lived play, where greatness is always waiting. Welcome to the PlayStation Experience. It is I, your boy, Daddy Ninja Dev, as always, and I am joined, of course, by Mr. Delvin Cox. How are you today?
I am doing good. Everything is good. Everything is fine. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there, and the ones who are terrible fathers, well, you can go F off.
There it is. There it is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Thanks for stealing my jab. Yeah, my dad doesn't deserve the title of father. Happy Father's Day, everybody.
That other voice you hear is the Platinum Princess herself, Miss Haley Nicole Miller. And how are you this morning?
I feel bad because this is a video show, but we're recording locally. I just need to point out, Audacity is picking up my fan. I apologize for your editing this week, Delvin.
No, don't worry about it. I think we just use this. Let's cut that part out. We can just use this file, the video file. That's fine.
Yeah, if the video file works, we should be good and not even have to worry about it. So that'll be.
Hey, I just felt like being honest because I there's no way I would survive in this room right now if I had the fan off. It's welcome to living on the third floor of an apartment building and not having air conditioning.
Why be honest? We're talking about video games.
There it is. Summertime. Yeah, it's supposed to be like 103 or 104 today out here.
Yeah, there's a heat index.
Yeah, I ain't going outside today.
There's a heat index warning locally.
Jesus. No fun.
Oh yeah, this is a video show, so people can see my painting of Ellie now.
Yeah, if it comes into focus, because you know your camera.
My camera likes to be a piece of garbage. I know.
It's all good.
Yeah.
All right, so let's just jump right into it. I'm pretty sure I know what everybody's been playing, but let's just get into it anyway. So let's start with you, Haley. What have you been playing?
Last of Us and Last of Us Part 2. I, of course, finished my Last of Us replay through the day before the game came out. As noted by me tweeting a picture of me having flamethrowed the doctors in the room at the end of the game. It's like, I saved all my flamethrower ammunition for you, and then Mr. Dan Anthony was like, "You're a monster." I was like, I mean, it's like Joel said, they just came after. And then I've been playing The Last of Us Part 2. Of course, I jumped in right at midnight. Man, there are a lot of collectibles in this game, and no, I did not go looking for a guide. It's all been me on my own. I'll look for a guide to like get any I miss after I beat the game. Same goes for me streaming this game. I will be streaming it, but after I beat my first playthrough because people are being dicks and just not caring about spoilers right now. Sorry, guys. I found, I think, almost 140 collectibles at this point, and I'm still on day one.
Wow, that's a lot.
This isn't a spoiler because I'm not spoiling story moments, but like one of the collectibles you can find in this game is trading cards. There's 48 of those alone.
Yeah, I have found a lot of those.
Yeah. There's a bunch of safes, which is cool. Fun, interesting fact about those. Even if you don't have like the combo, if you listen to the safes when you're trying to open them, if you hear the click, you can open it without the note at all.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Like regular safes.
Yeah. Like a regular safe.
They put that in. That's kind of cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm also like that big open area once you get to like after the first big story moment. I did like every location in there and I unlocked a trophy. So all right. I was gonna explore it all anyways. Thanks for rewarding me with that. I don't know. Interactions are cool. I posted a photo this morning. I found a cute little gay bookstore while I was wandering around. I think it's pretty common at this point. Everybody knows that the game takes place mostly in Seattle. You know, found a gay bookstore with some rainbow painted crosswalks and the trans flag. That's on my Twitter if anyone wants to go look at look at it. I don't know. I actually was playing a little before we started recording. I'm almost finished day 1. I think at this point. So
Okay.
I don't know whereabouts you guys are, so I don't really want to like spoil anything for the listeners either. I just left the TV station.
Okay. I am a little bit ahead of you.
Well, that's not shocking. I had to work yesterday, so.
But so you enjoying it so far?
Oh, I'm loving it. I mean, this game is getting destroyed by people online, and I don't understand why. Notwithstanding one thing, there is one thing I was well aware of going into this, and I'm a little nervous about when I'll get to it. There's some pretty bad trans rep in this game, and no, I'm not referring to the character you think I am. But other than that, I've got hardly any criticisms. Like, I haven't finished the game, so I don't know about the whole story at all, but like I have a couple story flaws, but other than that, I'm enjoying it. I will say it's very nice to be able to dodge attacks and not just sit there and get destroyed if you get hit by if you get like surrounded by a bunch of
runners.
Yeah, but one thing that's really cool, because obviously for those who played the first one, you know that you never really encountered like infected and human enemies at the same area. It's so fun to stick a pack of clickers on people.
Yeah, I like the fact that they've kind of you can do that. Like if you're really good about it, you can set stuff up, and that is I've come across a couple of those. But you know me, I play stealth, so everybody's just getting stabbed.
Valid.
What about you, Delvin? Have you been playing anything other than The Last of Us?
Yeah, I want to talk about that. I finally beat Terminator Resistance.
Got that
Got that platinum trophy,
by the way.
Yeah, surprisingly, the last level was really good. I was shocked how good the last level was. It's literally just the beginning of Terminator. You know, the beginning part where you see the big battle that's going on in Terminator and stuff. For those who see Terminator movie, there's like the original Terminator movie. There's a big battle that's going on between the machines and the humans, and they show John Connor smoking a cigar, and he's the leader of the Resistance, and then the Terminator goes back in time. The end of the game is that, and it's pretty freaking cool. It's that battle, and they do it in a really good way. It looks like they put all the budget in the game in that one battle. So I liked it. I thought it was pretty good. I got the platinum trophy, like it was an easy platinum. And I enjoyed my time with it. It's a good, cheap budget game. It's funny because my son was watching me playing it, and he liked it. So he said, I want to get a copy for myself. Then he looked it up. But then he looked it up online, the prices of it. And I guess this game, because the game came out at a certain time, there's not that many copies of it. So the prices for the game is like $200 for the disc.
Can't you just buy it digitally on the store?
Yeah, I told him that. But if you want a disc version of it, you have to... There's almost none. They're like $200, $150, $100. It's crazy. Okay.
I mean, I'm not one to talk considering how much I've spent on The Last of Us Part 2. We could discuss my spending issues at a different time, but like, don't pay $200 for just like the base version of a game, please.
Yes.
Like, please.
You done ran into a cult classic.
A cult classic or a game that they knew wasn't really going to sell well, so they're like, let's not make a lot of physical copies.
It might actually be a cult classic because I've seen a lot of like user reviews for it, and they are really high. That shocked me. Like in the 80s, I'm like, really? And people are like praising this game.
Okay, but like, does it have a good story?
It's a decent story.
But no. I mean, compared to most Terminator stories, because remember, the usual opinions on Terminator are that Terminator 1 and 2 are good, and then the rest are garbage. So if this is anywhere near like at least decent, people are gonna love it. Although I'm of the controversial opinion that I really liked Genesis, but y'all can hate me for that later.
I like Genesis. I thought Genesis was pretty good, actually. I think for a video game version of a Terminator game is pretty good. But you know, that's what it. And also, that wasn't the only game I played this week.
Okay.
I played Sayonara Wild Hearts for the first time.
Yeah. Okay.
You've heard of this game before, right, Dev?
I feel like I've heard.
I mean, I've heard of it. I don't know what it is.
Okay, it's a rhythm-based action game. I want to call it.
Okay.
And what it does is like you have to you're going through these levels, fighting these people, and it's cool. It's almost like a music video, and you're hitting the prompts to like go through the levels, almost like not like Telltale, what's those games called? Like Dragon's Lair type games.
Okay.
Like almost
Visual
like
novel?
no, not like a visual novel because you have to play through the actual game itself.
Okay.
But it's like a
Turn-based?
mix. Not turn based. It's like a mix between like a Tetris type game or it's basically a rhythm game. That's the best way to describe it.
Okay.
It's a rhythm game, but it's like an action rhythm game because like you're fighting and stuff on a bike. The visuals for this game and the music for this game is fantastic. I mean, it looks awesome. Like I was playing it, and my kids were just staring at the screen like, "This is amazing looking," because it looks like a cool, stylized anime,
Okay.
and it tells a really cool story. And I highly recommend people check it out because it's super fun. You can beat the game in like an hour or 2 hours, and it has incredibly good music. Like I was sitting there playing, and my kids were singing along to the game, and it's super good. I highly recommend that game. And of course, the last game I played this week was The Last of Us Part 2. I didn't get that far, and I've got like maybe an hour and a half in it. I'm to that area that you were just talking about earlier. I like it a lot. I don't know what happened, but for some reason, maybe it's just me. Ellie looks amazing. Joel looks amazing, but some of the side characters, their models look off a little bit. I don't know if it's me or not. Like almost to the point where I had to because I have a PS4 Pro and I also have my PSVR.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't use your HDR functions while the PSVR is hooked up.
Yeah.
So I ended up unplugging the PSVR to see if it looked better. And it looks a lot better. But just playing in the standard PS Pro, like I said, the Ellie and Joel character models and certain characters look really, really good. And then there's certain moments where the other characters look a little bit off. And because of the Ellie and Joel model looks good, it's noticeable.
I haven't noticed any characters looking off. Maybe it's like, what are you playing on? And I'm not saying TV matters because it could just be your game assets not loading correctly or something like that.
A LG TV.
How big though?
Now I'm gonna sound like an asshole. Like a 72-inch LG 4K TV.
Okay,
72-inch.
I'm playing on a Samsung 60-inch 4K TV. We all sound like assholes. like
I'm playing on a 4K 27-inch monitor.
Okay, but you just bought that monitor to have HDR. So
No. This is a different one. This is the HDR monitor hasn't even come out yet. That was a pre-order. So this is just my regular 4K monitor that I have for my gaming setup.
Right. You don't have HDR yet, do you?
And it looks fucking incredible. So I'm not seeing any of the offness in the models. I am sitting here constantly looking at this game like, oh my god, this looks ridiculous. I can't even imagine what it's going to look like on PS5. I'm also playing on an SSD.
Everyone else is just like, man, I'm so far ahead in the story. And I'm like, how are you guys moving so fast? I'm just in awe of how pretty everything looks.
Yeah, this is like one of the first games that I've actually been like, I'm going to play around with photo because this game looks stupid.
I've taken a bunch of photos. Like I said, I had some cute interactions with Dina in the gay bookstore. And they weren't kidding. There is stuff you can absolutely miss in this game. Again, no spoilers. Like there was the one scene in the open area. I found a music store, and that's all I'm gonna say. That was awesome.
Yeah, hold up before you go on. If you're playing the game and you get to this point, find the music store. If you don't do any other side thing in this game, find the music store. It is worth it, to say the least.
I mean, it's not hard to miss. It's right by one of your main objectives. But like, still, you should definitely go in there. That scene is amazing, and it is absolutely 100% missable. And again, I apologize for my camera being garbage.
Unless you're Chaffee and you don't care about side stuff and you mainline everything and don't even explore the game, explore the world, go looking for stuff. There's stuff to find, and the interactions are really cool.
Chaffee, go into the music store.
You know he's not gonna. Don't even waste your breath. Don't even waste your breath. He plays everything.
Hey, also, read Ellie's journal frequently because it's interesting. So,
that's a good tip. I didn't realize
her journal is really cool. Like you see her pull it out and like put stuff in it. That stuff is there when you actually open it up and go back to it, and you can go and see all of her thoughts and stuff. It's really cool.
Yeah,
the journal is. So I've been playing I played 2 games. I finished Disintegration before I got into Last of Us 2. I literally finished it that Wednesday before Last of Us came out. Disintegration is actually a lot of fun. It's one of those games that has me wanting more. Like, it feels like the story is told, like, for that part is complete, but it definitely feels like there's a lot more to that world. The characters, I mean, everything feels a little like it just feels incomplete. Like, you want to have more, but the characters are kind of are endearing. What they do with the world makes you kind of want to exist in it, and it was just a lot of fun. It was a very, very different game, like just the mashup of the first person shooter on what they call a grav cycle, which is the vehicle you're on, and then also being able to command troops while you're doing that. It is just a very different mashup of genres, but it is a lot of fun. The combat is really rewarding. It takes a second to get into, like, trying to understand how to be able to use moves and how to, like, you kind of can make like combos or whatnot with the different characters. They all have these different special moves, and you kind of start to learn how to play off of them, so where you can just feel like a god basically out there, just directing traffic and just causing all kinds of destruction. So it's really cool. It's really fun. It's not a super long game. I think it's maybe 10 hours of the story. I think it was only like maybe 12 or 13 missions. They can be really long though. Depending on how you play, because there's lots of stuff to find. There's also a pretty good amount of replayability, because if you don't find everything in the level, you can go back and you can go find all the stuff, and there are unlockables and stuff for the different trophies, and your characters have levels where you can give them more abilities. And by the end of the game, depending on how you play, you could have unlocked everything, or you could have stuff that you can go back and unlock, or play it on a harder difficulty or whatnot. There are trophies for that as well if you're into that.
Nice,
but the story is pretty cool. It has a somewhat satisfying ending, but like I said, it just kind of left me wanting more. I do need to get into the multiplayer just to see what that is. I feel like a lot of the game was designed with multiplayer in mind. I think that was more or less what they were really going for. There's a couple of like ex-Bungie devs that are working on it. So like I think one of the main guys who worked on Halo was one of the lead designers for this game, and you can definitely feel like there's a huge multiplayer draw there, because it's just it's totally different. It's not something that I've ever seen done before in terms of the combat, because even in the multiplayer, you're on the grav cycle and you have your command units, and there are different grav cycles in the game. So you have like your light, your medium, and your heavy type builds. And depending on your playstyle, either you may want to have this light grav cycle with these machine guns, and you have a second ability that's healing, or maybe you want to have something that's a little bit more punchy, and you have like these ridiculous like slug cannons or shotguns. There's another grav cycle that has like a sniper rifle on. So just depending on how you want to play and the different troops you want to command, because they all have different abilities as well. Just the way you can combine them and everything is really. So if anybody's looking for like a little cool sci-fi tale with just a different style of combat that we have not seen in games, I would definitely suggest checking out Disintegration. It is a lot of fun. It is a 30-man development team, so it was a very, very small team. So for them to be able to put out this game at this level, it's really, really cool. If you have any interest at all in checking out something totally different, very sci-fi feel, I would say look into it. It's cool. And I'll post some video and stuff probably later on next week when I have some time, because I did record pretty much all of my playthrough. So I will definitely post some of that with my thoughts on video on the game. But it's a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it, and I hope that it does well enough for them to get a sequel, because I feel like it's definitely left open to that.
Cool.
Other than that, yeah, I played Last of Us 2. I have since Thursday night. I think I've stayed up to like 3:30 a.m. every night. So from like 11 to 3:30 is what I've been playing. I am probably, I'm past the radio station or TV station.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say I'm maybe an hour or two ahead of where you're at. Mm-hmm. And so far, I love the game. I absolutely adore it. I love the combat. It feels so much better than Last of Us 1 as far as playability.
I think you'd be proud of me, Dev. This is not a spoiler. The first unlockable skill tree, I nearly have maxed out. And you know what that is.
I don't remember which one is first, but...
Stealth.
Okay.
I nearly have that maxed out, and I will say those silencers you can craft are super handy. Super handy. Because, I mean, it's not shocking. You'll find weapons or whatnot, but like, I don't have any silent weapons besides adding a silencer at this point. So
yeah, same here. I haven't come across anything else, but yeah, I have the second durability of the silencer or whatnot. So I've almost maxed out the stealth tree as well, and yeah, I love it. I love. It's funny, like I've never cringed or jumped so much in a game in my life. Like every time I stab somebody in the neck, a part of me is just like, oof, God, it's brutal.
Dude, and she is strong. The force with which she breaks windows just with her bare hands is like, what are you doing?
I have not done that. I always equip a weapon so she butts it with the gun or something, which just looks cool.
She literally will take the butt of her knife, but like you know what her knife is. It's tiny. So just go right against the window, and it's like, dude, you're gonna break your hand. Calm down.
I'm so glad that I have a knife and don't have to craft shivs.
Oh, that's so nice. And also, like, for anyone who played the first game, you remember those like locked shiv doors. This time it's just like, hey, the door's locked. Find the way in.
Find the way in. Exactly. Yeah. I really like it. I love the playability of the game. Like, it's so much more fun and enjoyable to actually play than The Last of Us 1 was. Like, I enjoy the gameplay loop a lot better. I love getting to the upgrade stations. The way she takes apart the gun is so
the animation is
clean.
So clean. It's nice.
Yeah, so
there's like fun. Like in The Last of Us 1, like, yeah, the game still looks pretty for a game from 2013, but like you could definitely see some clipping on objects or whatnot. Now, I haven't seen anything like that in this game. It's awesome.
I've been playing on the SSD, so a lot of my stuff loads hella fast. Like, even when I've died or whatnot, which I have done a couple times, and sometimes on purpose because I didn't like the way I did the encounter, so I'm just gonna die and restart it. Yeah. So I don't have to lose ammo or whatnot. And it loads so much faster. It's like almost right back into the game, and everything loads in fast. I don't see a whole lot of pop in, and just some of the scenic spots where you can take pictures. Like, the game is just gorgeous. I have taken this to a different level. It's ridiculous.
So what weapons do you have right now, Dev?
I have the handgun, the revolver, the long rifle, and the shotgun.
Okay, so you did go into the bank then in the...
No, I went in there and I was like, I'm not even dealing with all these clickers, so I left.
Where did you find the shotgun then?
The radio station.
Interesting.
Or TV station. Yeah.
Interesting, because if you go into the bank vault, that's how I got the shotgun.
Oh.
I also...
Are they different shotguns?
I don't know. I found a pump shotgun.
I don't know. Yeah.
I found a pump shotgun in the bank vault, so that's cool that you can find it in a different way then. I also found Nate's ring from Uncharted.
Yeah, I found that.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. Although the reason I bring up the bank though is because I've seen some criticism of this online. It's like, oh, they disrespected their own lore. Anyone who's familiar with the thing knows that like infected need to feed and they'll change stages as they grow. You guys know that the infected you find in the world differ based on your difficulty level, right? Like if you're playing the game on moderate and you go into that area, you're going to find a couple clickers and mostly runners. If you go into there on Survivor, it is literally all clickers.
That's funny. I feel like the clickers are way easier to deal with than the actual just runners. Like, I'd much rather run into nothing but clickers.
I agree.
The criticism
clickers are so much easier to kill.
Yes, but the criticism of that scene is not for the amount of enemies that are in there. It's based on the fact that like they're in a bank that has like no people around, and like, oh well, the infected are supposed to change over time. People are like, oh, there's a bunch of runners in there. It's like, no, if it's based on your difficulty level, the enemies you see in certain areas.
That goes so far into the weeds, into the lore that I don't know anything about or care.
Yeah,
like I have not delved deep into like that type of lore of Last of Us at all. Like I don't care.
That's some Donnie level stuff that you don't want to get into.
It's just that for me, that's not the appeal of the game for me. Like, I don't care about the clickers. I don't care about the zombies. Like, I just like the story based elements of the human element. Like the clickers part and all that, I don't really care how they mutate or if they have to feed. I feel like the whole idea of zombies and all of that is stupid, period, because that's the whole thing. Like, they eat brains, and if they're just out there and there's nothing to eat, like, we should be able to just outlast the whole infection thing by not giving them food. But that seems to never happen in any kind of zombie stuff at all.
Because that's
it does in some. In a couple it happens. They have like situations where the zombies will start dying out because there's nothing to eat off of. I forget.
Or they should freeze to death. I mean, I don't know.
There's a couple of movies I've seen that in, and a TV show, if I remember correctly.
I think Z Nation did it, but then like instead of dying out in Z Nation, they just mutated and were basically humans with gray skin at that point, and it was like, all right, well, this is weird now.
Yeah, I don't watch a whole lot of zombie stuff. Not my thing. But yeah, I'm always like, why haven't they just died out at this? Like, why?
Because
why
that
haven't they frozen to death?
That doesn't make it fun to watch.
I'm not scared of zombies. I'm scared of the humans.
I'm not scared of zombies either. But like,
the humans are who you have to worry about.
If the walkers all died out on The Walking Dead, it's not really The Walking Dead then anymore, is it?
I'm not watching that's the thing. I want to know what the hell happened. Tell me about the infection. I don't care about the zombies. I want to know what happened.
Then don't watch The Walking Dead because Kirkman.
I stopped.
Kirkman's
I
whole
stopped
thing
a long
is
time
like,
ago.
I'm not telling you what the infection's from.
Yeah, I think once the season before they killed Glenn. That was when I stopped watching.
Season 6.
Yeah, I was like, I'm done.
That was my favorite thing. They're like, oh yeah, hey, spoilers for season 6 of The Walking Dead and then the beginning of season 7. They're like, oh yeah, Glenn died. He tried to hide under a dumpster from a horde of infected, and like 4 episodes later he shows up. It's like, haha, just kidding. And then 3 episodes later, it's like, oh no, he's dead. He got his head bashed in with a barbed wire baseball bat. Which, all right, that was gruesome.
Spoilers for The Walking Dead for those who haven't seen that.
It was like 37 seasons ago. It feels like so.
That wasn't that long ago.
I literally just said that before I mentioned the spoilers. But thanks, Delvin.
I feel like that was a while ago. It was long enough ago.
It was.
If you watch The Walking Dead, you have
yeah. But also that was a very comics accurate death for Glenn. Like that was literally his death to the point. The only difference in that scene alone was that Abraham also died there. Whereas when Negan showed up in the comics, Abraham was already dead.
Yeah, so zombies should just, winter comes, they should all die, so just freeze.
That's not how that works.
Why are you a zombie racist? Why you just want the zombie just to die in winter? What kind of crap is that?
Because they suck.
Okay. All right, well
they suck.
They don't suck their bite. How dare you?
Whatever.
Nope. Don't
vampire zombies. Where's that at?
Don't like this conversation.
That's actually a good idea. That would be cool.
What?
Vampire zombies.
I mean, they actually they did that.
I'm sure if they did, you would know because of your love of the vampires. But
I'm literally wearing a Buffy the Vampire Slayer dress right now. What do you want from me? Literally a battle axe with a stake across it.
Me neither.
See, I got nothing. All right, so
I love vampires.
Let's get into these questions because we've got a few.
We got a lot of them. Yeah.
And so I'm going to start with this question, but we're also going to get into it a little bit more in depth just later on when we go into like our big discussion of the week. Mm-hmm. But Almighty Ray asks, how damaging to the industry do you think review bombing a game is?
Not really. It happens all the time. People get angry and just oh, I hate this game and I hate that others enjoy it. 0. And then, you know.
I mean, personally, I don't really think it does a whole lot. What they've done to The Last of Us 2 is a little different, but typically when a game gets like review bombed on Metacritic, I don't think it's really damaging at all because a lot of times you can be like, yeah, this is just people being hateful or dumb. And to be perfectly honest, outside of like people in PSVG, like I don't know anybody who even knows what the hell Metacritic is or pays any attention to that type of stuff at all. I personally don't ever go to Metacritic and look at ratings. I don't care. Like for me, like I'm not big on like review scores anyway because I feel like unless you find somebody who genuinely likes like everything that you do and dislikes everything that you do, like your experience with the game is your experience, and it's hard to take somebody else's score or their experience and then not have that influence how you feel about the game. So for me, review scores, there used to be like back in the day, there was this one publication called Play Magazine. And when they would do reviews, they would not give it a score. It was just, this is what I think of the game and what I felt, but it was never something that they would score. And I appreciate that a lot more because it's really hard to put a number, in my opinion, on your experience, because something that you think is a 3 might be a 10 to me, which is why, like I said, I don't put a whole lot of stock. So I don't think the people review bombing the game really weighs heavily as far as the industry is concerned, especially when it's so clearly done out of just a hateful space. And when you have the actual like real critic score is vastly different than what the user score is. So I don't think it really affects the industry in any way, but that's also coming from a person who doesn't really care about review. Take that with the
review scores only have meaning because people put weight to them. The second they stop having weight put to them, websites can drop review scores. Reviews are based on a person's opinion. You will never find someone who 100% agrees with you on every game that you like, that maybe they scored, and this is an example, maybe they scored a 4, but you say it's a 10. You'll never find someone who does that with every game you play, where you have the same taste. Like, everyone has a difference of opinion, and reviews are based on opinion.
Absolutely. Anything to add to that, Delvin?
I have a lot to add to it. I think when I look at review score, it's the two things: the user review score and the company review score in terms of people who review games. The user review score matters in a sense because sometimes you'll see people will take those user review scores and not read them and take that like, okay, fans don't like the game. A good example of that is it's not a game per se, but Captain Marvel. People review bomb Captain Marvel so much that there are certain aspects of people who didn't even go see it because they think it's not a good movie. Mm-hmm. And I hate that people can be so negative and vindictive and do things like that in turn just to damage a movie or art because you just don't like, oh, the main character's a girl and she's strong. That's a crappy thing to do. Or, hey, this game promotes certain values I don't agree with. I hate when people do that because that's real sucker, cowardly stuff.
Look at what happened to Watch Dogs 2 when that got announced.
Yeah, and it's childish.
The reaction of Marcus being the main character was so dumb. So dumb.
See, very much so. Even seeing that, and that's the thing. Like I take myself out of that argument altogether. Like I don't care what people think typically of games, and I think that we need to pay less attention to that. If you see something that you think is cool, then go find out for yourself. To be perfectly honest, read the reviews and stuff afterwards. But if you see something that you think is interesting, go check it out.
And I also add, on the flip side, when it comes to companies like Kotaku reviews and stuff like that, those actually matter to the developers because certain companies base bonuses off of review scores.
Most famous is Fallout New Vegas. They were like 4 points short of their bonus that they required a percentage to reach of like Metacritic scores, and they reached 81, and I believe the percentage they needed to actually get their bonus was 85, and it's like ridiculous.
Yeah, the problem I have with that is as this gaming thing continues to grow, more and more people are being allowed to use their voice to review games, and people who used to be review bombing these games are now being allowed into Metacritic. So that's also kind of hurting the Metacritic score for some of these games, and that sucks. Like imagine if you worked so hard in a game like The Last of Us 2, that's critically acclaimed on one side, like the critics and reviewers are giving it like 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10s. And on the other hand, the fans, the so-called fans, the people that you make the games for, because they don't make the games for reviewers, they make the games for fans. Didn't you see the fans give it a 20% or something like that? Now, granted, these are not really people that you want to consider fans. These are crappy people with their own crappy agendas.
Yeah. Also, my favorite thing is that like Metacritic allows users to review games they don't own. Metacritic user score is usually like not great. Like, and there's only like a couple examples where I've seen the user score on Metacritic differ in extreme contrast to like the critic score. Days Gone's a good example. Critics hated it. User score was way above the critic score. But other than that, I think the only other one I've seen is like Death Stranding, where there was like a huge difference in value in them. It's ridiculous, but also like you can't have user scores mean anything if people can review games they don't own. Like because then you're looking at people who are like, oh, I didn't even play this game. I just hate that like there's LGBT rep in it. So 0 out of 10. It's like, all right, like I am upset when not about me.
Yeah, well, it's sad because unfortunately with the user score, you almost have to kind of throw that to the wayside because unless you're actually going through and actually reading the reviews, like there's no way to really put any real stock in those user scores because it, like you said, it could just be somebody who just doesn't like the idea of the game or doesn't like some the way something is represented, and they can just go in there and say whatever they want or just put a 2 on it or a 0.
Like,
so I think if I don't think I think it can hurt in the way is if people are really looking at that user score and basing their buying decision on it. It can, but then again, I don't know very many people outside of here who actually
care about that.
What the hell Metacritic is?
Like, look, like I know I bring people up all the time, but it's just because like that's where I get all my from, right? Like look at what happened to Alana Pierce this week. Like she wasn't even like she posted like her thoughts on The Last of Us 2 on like the day the reviews came out. And then on Thursday of this week, like the day before the game came out, she was streaming like to show gameplay for fans, right? Because the embargo on streaming had lifted. And immediately afterwards, she was just bombarded with like SJW cuck and all this other stuff from people that are like so upset that there's a girl as the lead or LGBT rep. And then they threw like a bunch of spoilers in the comments, so I'm not going to say the other one, but the other one was especially awful and horrendous. And for those who don't know, Alana used to work for IGN, now works for Funhouse. Funhouse had to literally come out and like, if you're commenting this kind of garbage on our like employees or anyone associated with us, this stuff, we don't want you. Like, this is garbage. Like, you need to not be doing this. And those are the kind of people that are review bombing this game. And
the joy of the keyboard warriors.
It's just like, all right, we get it. You to quote that famous like Bird Tweets account, like I am upset when not about me. Like that's essentially it. Like, yes, there are valid criticisms to make of this game, and I haven't even finished it yet, so I don't know what all of them are. But like, you cannot have valid criticism of this game be thrown in with people who haven't played it and are just like, oh, I don't like this. So I'm not going to play it, but I'm also going to review it at a 0 and throw the user score off. It's like, all right, we can't tell what the actual criticisms from people are and separate those efficiently from like 8,000 negative reviews from people who haven't played the game. Like, that's very hard to do.
Yeah, and I take what we do in that sense serious in terms of like, we're talking, like people listen to this show.
Yeah.
When we're talking about a game, I want to be as objective as possible. I love The Last of Us. Last of Us is one of my favorite video game series ever. But at the same time, I don't want to sit there and be like, oh, everything is great or this all sucks. That's not helping anyone. I feel like it's very important to sit there and be like, okay, this is what I found in the game that I love. This is what I found like, oh, that's a little weird. I think it's important to be honest and be transparent about things and not just be that guy like, oh, there's gay characters in this game. I don't like it. That's stupid. That doesn't help anybody. Just enjoy the game. The games are not, this is going to be controversial. I know this is going to shock some people. Video games are not just made for straight white males. Mm-hmm. The world is diverse, and people need to grow up and realize that.
Yep.
There are minorities, there are gays. This world, and especially in America, is very diverse. And once people wake up and realize that, the world will be a lot better place.
Yep. All right, let's put a pin in that because we're going to get more into that later on. So let's get on to our next question. Comes from at MTT Brazil Team, aka Lucas. Yeah. He says, I've recently started XCOM 2 and I've made 30 custom soldiers from people I know through podcasting, including Mr. Delvin Cox. So who's on your team and what is your specialty? Sniper, shotgun, medic, or ballistic?
I don't have an answer because I don't know what that means.
I haven't played an XCOM game since the original one on PC way back in like 1990.
I think I played like 2 hours of the XCOM that came out on PS3 and was like, this is not for me. And just walked away.
All right. Yeah. Let's just go off of the things that he used. And you can use it like based off personalities. Let's do that. Mm-hmm. That way everybody can do it. Okay, I'll start first, I guess. Sniper would be Dev. Because Dev will come out.
Stealth guy.
No, not only that, because Dev will come out with that wild comment out of nowhere and you just hit with it. Like, BOOM!
I mean, hot take.
I mean, both of those statements are true. Dev is literally the stealth guy. He's always going on about, I don't I don't want to go in there guns blazing. I want to stealthily take everyone out.
I don't want you to ever know I was there.
Haley is the shotgun. She's the shotgunner. She's going to just say a whole bunch of stuff wherever she can and take them out. All right, let's see. What was the other classes?
There's
Okay.
medic and ballistic.
Ballistic is blowing up stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm trying to think of somebody on.
Kevin.
Yeah, Kevin works good for that.
See, I would have Kevin as my medic because I feel like Kevin a lot of times is trying to smooth things over. A lot of times it may be behind the scene work, like just trying to kind of smooth
This
things
is all
out.
good fun anyway, so it's like it
Yes.
doesn't really matter.
You know who ballistics is? Chowfie.
Oh my God, yes.
Chowfie
Yeah, that's perfect.
will blow up any situation that there is and make it 1,000 times worse. All right. Medic, I'm going to go with Coach Mo.
Yeah.
The Gentle Giant. The Gentle Giant. Coach Mo. I think he's a peacekeeper. He's somebody who likes to heal. You know, I think that's good.
Yeah.
I think that's a good team.
Absolutely. So, I mean, I want to. There's no rogue class. I can't just go in there and sneak around or just be by myself. Like, I don't even want a team.
No.
I'm like Maverick from Top Gun. Like, I'm doing this by myself. I don't need y'all. That's how I get down.
That's unfortunately not how XCOM works.
Not at all.
Like my comment on Mass Effect. Like, can I just not have any team members and just finish the game? Just me by myself. Because that's how I.
Technically, you could, but you'd struggle. Like
You wouldn't
massively.
enjoy it.
Yeah. It's
You
like
would not
SOCOM.
enjoy-
You don't need those teammates. You get rid of them because their AI sucks, and then you finish the mission by yourself.
Have you played Mass Effect? Because the Mass Effect AI is actually good, and they actually do things.
I know. I was just talking about how SOCOM and how I like kind of going
okay.
in.
Or like
I'm basically Solid Snake. I want to go in there as a one-man wrecking
you hide
crew.
in boxes.
Absolutely. If I can hide in a box, you know how skilled you got to be to hide in a box and nobody find you. Just saying.
That's a good point.
Just saying.
All right.
So-
I mean,
But if
Hopefully
I
people
had
do it all
to,
the time.
like I said, I would definitely be the sniper. Donnie would be the shotgunner because he just wants to get up close and just shoot things in the face or punch him in the face anyway. The medic, Coach Mo or Kevin for sure, and ballistic. Man, I feel like there's so many people that just like to go into ballistic. Who would I have as my ballistics? I don't know. That's tough. I think Chaffee is like that. That makes the most sense because I feel like he definitely just wants to go in there and cause destruction and just
Yes.
blow stuff up. Like it just
Amazing.
It fits.
all right. I don't know where to go with this. All I know is that I'd probably have Rebecca as the healer.
That's a good choice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Other than that, you know what? Dev, you're gonna be the sniper again because that's the closest you'll get to stealth.
Okay, that's good.
Donnie would be again. Donnie's a good shotgunner because Donnie does like to get up close. I don't know where to go with the ballistics. There's no good answer.
Chaffee is the only answer.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is the correct answer.
Okay.
Also, I know you guys don't like wrestling, but on Strong Style, Donnie said one of the most ridiculous statements I've ever heard in my life. So I'm going to ask you guys this. Would you take a punch from Mike Tyson for free?
For free? No.
For free. Just for the
Why?
experience.
No.
Why? Why do I want to experience my face broken?
Because it's a great story to tell, apparently.
No, it would not be. Also,
I feel like anybody you tell that story is gonna look at you like you're an idiot. You got punched by Mike Tyson for free. You're stupid.
Yeah.
you give me $1 million? Sure, I'll get punched by Mike Tyson.
Yeah, because you're gonna
Before
need
that-
to get the reconstructive surgery for your face.
Yeah.
I already want reconstructive surgery for my face. So what's
you
the
might wanna
difference?
just let Mike Tyson punch you. There you go.
There you go.
Let's go.
Not for free though.
Hit up Play Nintendo and ask him about that.
That's interesting.
Oh my god.
And I don't hate wrestling. I like wrestling. I'm just
The
not
only
into
one
it like you crazy people are.
The
Oh,
only
yeah,
one here who hates wrestling is I'm me.
Hi, B. How you doing?
All right, that was a terrible dad joke.
Well, it's Father's Day. What do you expect?
That's true. Next question from @BlandExplosion. He wants to know, his girlfriend is going to be using his base PS4 now that he has acquired a PS4 Pro. What games should she try? She loves Animal Crossing, and that's about it. Are there any go-to first-party or third-party titles for a non-gamer?
Little Big Planet.
There you go. That's a good one.
Is there a PS4 Little Big Planet?
Yep, Little Big Planet 3.
Okay. Oh God, that's like beginning of the gen.
Yep.
Forgot all about that one.
There's also Stardew Valley. Although if they have a Switch, they probably already played that because that's available there. Ratchet's good. Like it's not violent, but it's fun. Like it'd be an interesting one for them to try and play.
Remember, she only likes Animal Crossing.
It's close. You're playing as an animal. I don't know. Sims maybe.
Yeah, I Donnie gave the answer Tearaway, and that was probably about the only game that I could think of outside of a Little Big Planet that I would think that might be interesting for somebody who's only really into Animal Crossing for PS4.
I'm going to go in the complete opposite direction. And I think this would be a good date night for you guys to do. Play Until Dawn together.
Oh, nope.
Yeah.
No.
One of you play Until Dawn. One of them has the controller. One of them says what they want them to do. Yeah. Sit down and like you're watching a movie almost.
Okay.
Sit together.
Until Dawn is a great game, but if they only like Animal Crossing, that is a big leap. Big leap.
It is, but it's also not. It's a way of taking the game out of the game. Like you don't have to play the game. I see what you're going with, Devin, and I think that makes a lot of sense. That could be cool.
Yeah, because I actually did that with my mom. I actually did that exact same thing with my mom.
But also, see, I'd get upset if someone made a story choice I didn't want to make. So that's why I couldn't play that with someone else.
Selfish.
I let her make the story choices. I used the controller, and she made the choices. Yeah. So she had a blast with it. She had a blast while she like, this is like an actual movie. And she had a lot of fun. And since she wasn't actually playing the game, she had even more fun because she just felt like she was watching a movie, an active movie.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. All right, so our last question comes from the big boss man Don himself. He said, so in The Last of Us 2, there is a lot of apparently sex and nudity and all kind of stuff in that vein. And none of it's censored, didn't get pulled, none of that type of stuff. But there have been several games by Sony that have gotten either censored or pulled because of sexual content. Yet, Last of Us 2 is not a problem. Do you guys think that because it's Naughty Dog, like they are just above all that and Sony doesn't want to pull it, where like there's so many games where they have actually either forcefully censored or had them change the game because of it? Like, do you think that's a fair practice? Do you guys have like any thoughts on that one at all?
I have a question.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
How old is Ellie in this game?
19.
Okay. Go ahead and say what you're going to say,
also,
Ellie.
People aren't asking this question about Ellie. I know what they're referring to.
I know, but I said that for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
I'll let you say first.
So essentially, like, I haven't heard of a game being forced to be changed by Sony for, having sexual content. Now, granted, there is an example of stupidity that I'm going to use here. The DMC5 situation where they had a lens flare on, I forget the character's name, but, like, one of the characters you meet shows up in, like, a towel, and you meet them, and they drop the towel, and the camera, like, sort of focuses on their butt, and there's, like, a huge lens flare, so you can't see the butt crack. But, like, that eventually got taken out, and Sony was like, we apologize for that. The games being pulled for sexual content off the PlayStation Store are not games that you'd want to be playing in the first place. They are essentially as close to porn as they can get, and that's why Sony pulled them.
That is something that maybe you might not want to play or say, but there are people who enjoy those games, like the Senran Kagura Burst game, stuff like that.
I was going to get to that.
Sure.
That is the kind of stuff that people are upset about, because it's like you are constantly either censoring or pulling those games, but yet there are like gratuitous sex scenes in Naughty Dog in this game that are not censored or anything like that. But yet on the other end of the spectrum, like you completely censor these games. So like where's the line drawn in the sand for that?
I mean, that's with this question though, you'd also have to look at Rockstar, because there's a huge sex scene in GTA 5. That game didn't get pulled. Right.
I'm going to get to both of those right now. I think the biggest difference is this. With the Naughty Dog games, these characters, and even the Rockstar games, these characters are over the age of 18. So they are full consenting adults. Even with Detroit Become Human, I think has a sex scene as well.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
But those games, these are full consenting adults. The games that are getting censored by PlayStation are games where the characters look like minors.
Oh, you know what? That, yep. Yeah, that's a better. Like, I I get it. People want to play those games. That's fine. You can play those games, but Sony doesn't have to have them on the store, especially if they could get into legal trouble with it. Like the Naughty Dog thing is like all the characters are above the age of like, which is such a low bar and sounds so creepy when you put it out there, but like they're not minors, right?
Yeah.
But, like to phrase it correctly, like they're adults. Like that's what's happening. The games that are being censored have characters that are
their age is ambiguous. You don't really know.
Question mark adults.
Also, I was going to literally use a Sun ProZD. I don't want to mispronounce his name. He most famously known now for the voice of Flack in Borderlands 3. Has a great vine about this. It's like watching an anime, and it's like yada yada. I'm a 1,000-year-old vampire, but I look like an 8-year-old girl. He's like, nope, don't like this. I'm out. Like that's awful. Like you can't do that. That's what Sony's removing, and you know what? That's totally their call because they could get into huge legal trouble just for having that stuff on the service.
Yes, and that's the whole thing they've been censoring. They have been censoring sex in games per se. There's a lot of games that have sex in it, but it's games that kind of gratuitously make anime characters look young.
Yeah.
And sexualize them. That's what they've been kind of censored editing.
And by the way, the next person I see reply with, "Oh, but the age of consent in Japan is 13." That's bad. I hope you know that's worse. Like that's not a comment you want to be making in response to these criticisms. Like that just makes you look not great. I've seen that a lot, and it's awful. Please don't go, "Oh, but the age of consent in this country's," that's not the point.
Right.
Well, the age of consent in the United States is 18. So most people, you have to follow that age of consent. And when you put out stuff that sexualizes younger kids, that's not a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Damn you, anime.
Yeah.
On a note of anime that's not like that, please watch Hellsing Ultimate. Vampires fighting Nazis. It's great.
I'm gonna stick with Cowboy Bebop and Samurai Champloo.
Hellsing Ultimate is great, but also if you want a huge laugh, go watch Hellsing Ultimate Abridged. It's great. That's my Team 4-star. It's like the old Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged. It's like screw the rules. I have money.
All right, moving right along. That was the end of our questions. Time for some news of the week.
I'm very excited about this.
So I am not going to say anything about your first story because one of my good friends was like, if you're going to talk about this, I want to be on the show. So I'm not going to say anything about your story, Haley. You can take it away, and I have no comment.
Okay. Skate's back. That's the story. Skate is back. I'm very happy. I called it. Also, shout out to Alana Pierce tweeting like right before the show. But what if Skate 4, bro? And then like 40 minutes later, it's like, bro!
Skate 4 is back. That's the tweet. That's it.
Yeah, like this is so good. I love the Skate series. It's good. And yes, people have been like, oh, super excited. Now, based on what the Skate like Twitter account started retweeting after this announcement was made, I do not think it's a mobile game because people are like, but guys, we're getting all excited. They didn't say it was Skate 4. Sure they didn't. Why would they say it's Skate 4? They continued the storyline from Skate 1 to Skate 3, and when that ended, it would pretty much need to be like a sort of reboot to continue on, right? Like move on with new characters and everything else like that. Obviously, you'd have the same skaters that are normally in it, or even add more. But like for reference, like the cameraman who follows you around in the games, you could get a new one of those, and like new custom characters from like the Skate devs themselves. That'd be interesting. But like, it's very exciting to see this back. People are like, what if it's a mobile game? I highly doubt that. I do not think EA would make that kind of hubbub about, hey, and one more thing, Skate's back at the end of the show if it was just going to be a mobile game. I know that EA has done some questionable things in the past, but I don't think they're that crazy.
Oh, people would put out their pitchforks if they did that.
I mean, yeah, people put out their pitchforks after that show in the first place, so...
yes.
Yeah.
Think it's cool. I'm excited for it.
Also, I'm very glad they brought the F the Oscars guy back. That I know that's like kind of getting into Dev's story, but like just
No, that's perfect transition.
I mean, they brought what's his name, Yosef Faro or whatnot. Like
I have no idea what his name is.
they let that man say "F the Oscars" on national television.
Hey,
Yusuf Fares or Fares, I don't know how you say his name, but yeah. So there was an EA Play Live event. It was something. I think the biggest news out of that is just how they're embracing crossplay. I think that's probably the biggest story from that, outside of Skate's triumphant return after the masses yelling at the internet constantly.
Oh yeah, by the way, that was a bad call to make that comment in the show, like, because now you're just gonna get people who want a specific game to comment on everything, because they literally were like,
they do that now anyway.
Okay, yes, but when this is like the Snyder Cut thing over and over and over. You're giving power to comments, like,
I mean, power to the people. Your voice, man, use it.
Sure,
but
you do not want people commenting on every post now for EA going, but what about Fight Night 4? Like,
don't they already?
No.
Yeah, they kind of do.
Because trust me, I'm gonna now just constantly ask for the return of NBA Street. Like,
oh, I mean, I would not.
And SSX Tricky. I don't even want the entire. I just want SSX Tricky and NBA Street Volume 2 to be remade. That's it. Just those two. So now I'm gonna comment for those forever. All right. But crossplay is like coming to everything. You've got Apex Legends coming to Switch. You got Skate back. We got a tree for Dragon Age.
Oh, a tree and red lyrium. We cannot forget the red lyrium. That was the best thing. It's like we've waited 2 years and all we saw was a tree and some red lyrium, and it's like, I mean, what did you expect when they announced Dragon Age at the Game Awards? They were like, this game's very early in development.
Yeah. I mean, to me, the show was a little just. I mean, it didn't hit really hard for me at all. Like,
they spent 10 minutes talking about Star Wars Squadrons footage instead of just showing Star Wars Squadrons footage.
Yeah, I think that game is going to be interesting because it's only apparently a $40 title. There's no DLC. It's not a living game. There's not going to be any microtransactions. It's like, this is it. This is the game. It's full. It's complete. Enjoy. So I think that they have learned their lesson from from Battlefront 2, and they're going in a different direction, and I think it's a good one. So that'll be interesting to see how well that game does and what the actual tale of that game is, like how long that game actually stays around and people are still playing it. Like it'll be interesting to see. I think it looks really cool. I was surprised that there wasn't a whole lot of next gen talk at all.
Oh yeah,
they Sports, they just had like a sizzle reel towards the end, but
yeah, and they showed like a building crumbling and a dude blinking, and also the weird like blocky jumping floaty guy. I don't know how to, you know what I'm talking about.
Weird blocky jumping. I
like
don't know.
Right in that next gen thing, there was like a little clip in there where like dude was running. Like it's like when you're in the developing stage, but like you haven't got everything rendered yet.
Yeah. I don't know. I was just very kind of just like real meh about this show.
The only thing that excited me about the show was Skate, and I went into it fully expecting to be disappointed as normal, and for the most part I was. And then Skate was announced, and it was like, oh hell yeah!
It was a show. It existed. It's a thing, and we got a lot of crossplay out of it. Is how I feel. Greg Miller did a great job, though.
Yes, he did. And also, I love that half the comments for that show weren't even about Greg. It was just about the shirt he was wearing and where he bought it. So much so that his wife Jen literally had to come out and go, "Here's a link to the shirt. Please stop asking."
I was more enamored by his beard. His beard game was on point.
Oh, it's always on point. Also,
that man's beard is fantastic.
If you guys want a great laugh, please go watch the Kind of Funny Reacts. Like the last 5 minutes of this is just incredible because the last 5 seconds, like right before they announce Skate is coming back, Tim Geddes is like, "Oh, what's this gonna be? Some sports game, right?" And then they're like, "Oh, we're handing it off to Cuz or whatnot," and Tim's face goes, "Huh?" And then they show the Skate devs, and he's like, "Oh my god!" And his face is just slack-jawed for the entire time they're talking, and it's incredible.
Delvin, you've been mighty quiet.
I was too busy laughing at you saying, "Yeah, that happened."
I mean, that's just how I feel about it. I'm like, it was a thing.
Your non-response delighted me so much.
Like I'm like the first like 10, 15 minutes, I was ready to turn it off. I was like, I'm ready to turn this off. Between the Sims and all the Apex stuff, I was like, where's the fast forward button?
Yeah.
Delightful.
It was there. It happened. That's all I was going to say about it. There's nothing to really talk about it. The skate thing is the biggest news out of it. And it's like, all right, that's cool. Skate's awesome. I'm happy Skate's back. All the other stuff we kind of knew was going to happen. So it's like, whatever.
Did they have a release date or even a window for Skate? Because we didn't see anything for it at all, did we?
They said it was early in development.
Okay, we'll see that in 2020.
Yeah, which
probably.
is fine. I knew it was going to be a next gen title if it came back at all, right? Like, we're going to announce a Skate game for the PS4 and release it 2 months before the console comes out.
Poor Skater XL.
Also, poor Sessions.
I don't know.
I'm getting that.
That's an Xbox. It's an early access preview on Xbox right now. It's sort of like a successor to Skate, but also Rip Sessions, Rip Skater XL, and Rip Skatebird.
Wow, I didn't know Sessions was an early.
Yeah, it's in game preview.
How am I check that out?
It has a limited console exclusivity to the Xbox.
That's cool. I didn't know that.
And then, like, this is just great because we're getting skateboarding games back. And if they sell well, we'll probably get more, which is nice because it's so nice to, like, see Little Big Planet come back, right? Like, I know that the new one for PS5 is titled Sackboy's Big Adventure, which, by the way, I hate that name. I hate that name for that character.
I love that name.
You named this character Sackboy. All right. Great. Love it. Yeah. Did we not think this through? Because this is the perfect time to say, hey, phrasing. Delvin, please watch Archer. And
I'll start watching it.
I'll watch it for Lana alone.
Yeah. Also, please watch Bit. Yes, I know I haven't plugged it in a few weeks, but here we go. No, it's so good that we're getting it back. Like, we've got the Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2 remaster coming out in September, which I'll have more time to sink my teeth into now that Cyberpunk got delayed. So,
yeah,
you know,
that happened.
It did happen. And before everyone goes off of me, not actually angry about the game being delayed, more angry that the game moved into a blackout period at Walmart, so I can't use my vacation time for it like I had planned. So
that sucks.
Yeah, because from November 1st to December 26th, you can't use vacation time at Walmart because it's a holiday blackout period.
It's that retail life.
Yeah,
I remember that working at Best Buy, except it extended all the way out through January.
Yikes!
Because of returns and stuff.
Yeah, but it's very nice to see these come back, and I hope we get more of them. Especially because
don't oversaturate the market. Let's get a nice break in between them. Let's just update the existing things. Otherwise, we run into all the terrible Tony Hawk games.
Yeah.
So, just bring back SSX Tricky. All right. And EA Sports. Just bring back EA Sports Big. Come on. Do it. Cowards.
It would be great. Yeah. Just don't bring back big, huge games. Oop.
Yikes. What you got for us, Delvin?
I'll make mine short but sweet. Crash Bandicoot 4 is coming out soon, apparently.
I'm pretty sure this is the game that's going to be announced tomorrow at Summer Game Fest. Yeah.
Following a tease back from November 2019, this is an article from GameSpot, by the way. Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time, leaks thanks to a Taiwan digital games rating committee.
Y'all really think they're going to name the game It's About Time? Because that's a little on the nose.
I think they have cover art for it, and it looks like that's what it is. Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time.
That has a great double meaning, It's about time that the game is out, and then this looks like, just based on the background and cover art, like it looks like it may be dealing with like time travel.
Okay, I'm just gonna say this flat out: stop using time travel. It's never done well.
I love time travel.
I disagree. Time travel was done amazing in Titanfall 2.
Okay, you didn't let me finish. I was about to say there are only 2 instances I've ever seen it be used correctly. Dishonored 2, the Clockwork Mansion, that level is fantastic. And also the Titanfall 2 use of it. I love seeing people videotape them playing through that level and just going, I'm over here. I'm over here.
Hold up, Haley. You didn't name Life is Strange for time travel?
I mean, the time travel is not great in that game. I'll be honest. Like,
it's awesome. I love that aspect of it.
I mean,
like,
they literally show you that, like, I mean, all right, spoilers for Life is Strange 1. Literally, the only endings for that game are, hey, invalidate all of your choices, regardless of everything you've done, and let Chloe die. Or, hey, the entire town gets destroyed and you keep your powers. Which is, all right, I'll keep the powers. But, like...
Wow. With great power comes great responsibility.
Sure, but also Chloe's awesome. Screw Arcadia Bay, and everyone there was a dick anyways. So
you don't sacrifice one to save many, huh?
No. Also, Chloe is Bay. Like
you are a villain. You're not the hero.
I will say this.
I never said I was the hero. I'm also not the villain. So
I will say this about that game. They clearly made a choice to tell you which ending to pick because one of the endings is super long and super detailed, and one of them is super short.
Okay, but also the reason the one is like super short is because there's nothing really to say at that point. Like, oh no, the town's destroyed. We drive through it and walk away. And also, the super long ending is mostly it's not even cutscenes at that point. It's like it's like a Photoshop slideshow.
Yeah,
you can tell which ending was done later, and it's the one where Chloe dies. That one was done later, but also that was a ridiculous point, anyways, because it's moot now that the comic books are out. Like both endings are canon. Don't ask me how that works. Do not. I cannot explain it. It's stupid. But oh well.
Surprised you didn't just bring up the fact that Cold's alive or something.
Yeah. We're not talking about Infamous right now because I'm still salty that they sort of were like, hey, here's lightning to start off this trailer. Oh no, it's Miles. Which, again, not mad that it's Miles, because Miles is awesome, but don't do that to me.
Cole's dead. Staying dead.
I will fight
you. See him again.
I will fight you. Dev and I are going to fight in the back alley after this podcast.
So yeah, Crash is apparently coming back.
Also, sorry for derailing us.
Yeah,
it's okay. What we do. All right, so the discussion of the week, we're gonna delve a little bit more into the review bombing because there was a couple of other thoughts on that. So we kind of went into it. Should sites really allow users to be vocal and provide that kind of input, especially if they haven't played the game? If you're just making it basically an open forum to say whatever you want, regardless of any validity to what you're saying. Is there any value to that whatsoever? And should, folks be upset to see these low scores, and then can you start to skew it the other way by having people just go in and post positive review scores to try and get it back? And then doesn't that just lose all merit or credibility to the whole idea of the users?
Yeah.
Like I said earlier, I tend to not even want to deal with the user score in Metacritic because there's no validity to any of that, because anybody at any time can go in and say whatever they want. And just taking The Last of Us 2 for an example, because it's really what's spurring on this conversation, is that there's just so much hate in the world at this point, and people feel so entitled to when something doesn't include them or isn't relatable to them that they then deem it terrible and have to shout at the rooftop. You know how, for me, games haven't been relatable to me for fucking until, now, honestly. I have never played games looking to be to feel like that's me, or to feel like I can relate to the character or whatnot, because that's just not, one, why I play games, and two, it's not something that until recently, when we actually start getting characters of color as your leads, in a Watch Dogs, that mattered. And I think it is incredibly sad that you have so many people that have decided to review bomb a game based on the fact that they don't feel like, they can relate to the character, or they're upset because it doesn't jive with their views of the world. But it ain't about you.
Yeah. As games are sort of an escape for me, but I don't always play every game to relate to. For good example, when I play Call of Duty, I'm not trying to relate. I'm just playing Call of Duty because I want to play Call of Duty. Same goes for Fortnite or whatnot. But also, like, I don't think that you should be able to review a game if you don't own it. For user scores, anyways, because obviously critics that's a different story. Usually codes are provided by the company that asks you to review them. That's a different story. But users who do not own the game, now I don't know how a site would verify this unless they're asking you to link to your PlayStation account if you bought it digitally, or like enter the UPC of your game or whatnot. They should not be allowing you to review a game or a movie or a TV show or whatnot if you've not watched it, listened to it, played it at that point, because you are then taking valid points and mixing them in with someone who has nothing to say except, I don't want this game to review good. Or, everyone loves this game, I'm going to say it's overrated just for the fun of it. Like, that's hard. I like, it's hard to put into words just what I mean here, because, I think of things up here and then they get jumbled up. Essentially, you have very valid criticisms. And I'm not even talking just Last of Us here. I'm just saying, like, you can have valid criticisms of anything. But the second you allow those reviews to have the same weight as someone that is just saying, oh, I don't like this, and I've never watched it or played it or listened to it, and they have the same weight in affecting the user score, you've made them all useless, regardless of how valid someone's criticism is. Like, it's useless at that point now, because you've mixed it in with people that just don't want things to succeed because they're not about, and this is going to sound controversial, because they're not about straight white men. Like,
yeah. I mean, it has to be said, that's basically been the main characters for games forever. And I feel like there is a certain privilege in that where games have basically been about you forever. So you can relate to the characters and see that, where for us, it's just a bonus. Like, if the character happens to look like me, like, that's just a bonus, but that's never been something that I've looked forward to in a game or cared about, because that just wasn't the experience. So when I get a game where there's a person of color who is either the main character or a prominent character, that's always just a bonus, but it's not something that I go looking for in a game. But on the reverse, I'm not going to hate the game because it's not, representative of me. Representation definitely matters, and it's awesome to see yourself in that, but that's not, it can't be for everybody. That's just never going to be the case. And it just sucks. And then when thinking about, like, you have to have the game, like, how do you police that?
Yeah,
and then
exactly.
if that's the point, like, how do we even, should there even be user reviews? Like, should you be allowed to just go on a site and post? And I know that a lot of time it's just people wanting to be able to get their voice heard, but does that really do the industry any justice? Like, is that good? Does it just bring it down? Because you can have people that just decide they want to review bomb something. And there's been very, very few times when you've actually had people go and, like, just bombard something with positive reviews because they've liked the game. Like, there's been a couple of instances where that's happened, but it's very far and few. It's just, we don't have a lot of that. That's why we have the term review bombing. Like, there isn't even a term, I think, for when people go in and just give something a bunch of glaring praise just to make a higher review score. So it's one of those weird things. Like, you don't want to censor people and you want them to be able to have a voice, but then in this instance, like, is it helping in any way?
I'm of two minds of this. My first thought is that we probably should just get rid of user review scores, periodly. Just don't use them anymore. We don't need them. They don't serve that much of a purpose, really. But my second thought is the fact that there are a lot of kids who like to review games so they can become reviewers, so they can use that stuff. So when they go, like, apply for jobs at video game companies like IGN and things like that, they use that to, like, hey, this is what I've been doing. I've been reviewing games all this time and doing that, and that hurts them.
Okay.
When these jerks do stuff like that, that affects them. And it sucks that this climate that we live in today affects every aspect of our lives. Like, there was a time where video games was an escape for all of us.
Yeah.
And now video games, movies, pop culture, everything has become a political issue. There's no escaping it. And it sucks that we live in a climate that's what it is today, in terms of, like, hey, you just can't enjoy a game now. Now, if you're playing a game, you're trying to enjoy it. Oh, no, these SJWs are trying to warp your minds. No, just enjoy a game.
Also, we need to be clear here. When people say SJW nonsense, they mean the game either has a lead that's not straight and white, or the game has a character in it who happens to be gay or happens to be black or is not them. And that's what that is. They're literally trying to just say, hey, I don't want this game because I'm not in it. It's like, you guys aren't the only
the sad thing is that there's a term for that called social justice. Where it's like, shouldn't justice just be social? Like, it goes back to like the whole thing, like we're not even fighting for equal rights, we're fighting for civil rights. Can we just be civil?
Yeah.
You know? And it's just sad that we live in an era where people are so upset about just trying to level the playing field and make something for everyone, you know? That if it's not about, you know, you as the straight white male, and I'm sorry to have to keep going down this line, like that's a problem. Like, you get so up in arms about that, about not being able to see just the different spices of life. Like, we always talk about, like, America is this giant melting pot of everything, but yet as soon as it is shown to be that, people seem to get so up in arms and upset about what America really is. Like, America's not just a bunch of straight cis white people. Like, there is freaking everything. And why not start to embrace that? That was the whole idea of what America is. It's the land of the free for everyone, regardless of race, gender, sexual orientation. None of that matters. Like, where's the human element?
Like, I'm going to bring up Dontnod again because I'm very excited for their next game. It's an Xbox exclusive, and it's a perspective I won't have because I'm a trans girl, but, like, their lead character in that game is a trans man. Like, very excited for that game. And I already know that it's going to have the same outrage that The Last of Us. This is, in fact, part of the outrage for Last of Us 2 is because, again, there is a trans character in this game. And people are mad about the fact that that character's even in there. But then you have some valid criticisms from trans people that are like, hey, like, maybe we shouldn't be using this rep in this kind of way. Like, and I don't even know what that scene's context is, but I know trans people are very, like, iffy about it. I will make my opinion on that scene when I get there because I haven't. But, like, again, it's nice to see a difference in character. Like, nobody wants to play a straight white male number 300, like, all the time.
Oh, you mean Cole? There was a lot of criticism about that. Like, that era, like, every character looked like Cole. So, and
that's a good point to bring up too, because that's even different. Like, as soon as you change the way a character looks, people get mad. A good example, the original reveal trailer for Infamous 2 had Cole wearing like a black t-shirt, the messenger bag that he wears in the game. He had the imp and all that, but he had hair. Like, and everyone got so upset. And then the next time you saw Cole, he was bald again. It was like, do you guys not want flavor in your characters? Like,
I think it's just people got to grow up. And this is the funny thing about all this stuff that drives me crazy. If you don't like what's going on in the game, just don't buy it.
Yeah.
Simple as that. Keep your money. They don't need it. They'll be fine. Rockstar will be fine without your $50. Naughty Dog will be fine without your $50. These companies will prevail and be fine just without your money. You can keep your money and shut up. Simple as that, you know. There have been plenty of things that I haven't liked, and I say, you know what, I just won't support it. And I was fine with that. I was happy with that. Like, you know, it's very easy just to say, you know what, I don't like the direction they're going in. I don't have to support this game. But when you're sitting here actively trying to destroy something that somebody tried to create, that's terrible. Like, especially if they're not hurting anybody. It's one thing when you're sitting in there pointing out injustices or bias or something where somebody's actually doing something wrong.
Yep.
But when somebody's just making a video game for people's enjoyment, if they're not doing it, they're basically not harming anyone, what's the point of trying to actively hurt them? It's silly.
It's dumb and it's sad. It's like, it amazes me that in 2020 we still get so upset and have so much fear over things that we don't understand, that we can't relate. Like, it's okay. It's okay that, you know, you can't relate to that. It's okay. How about we just sit down and try to see things from a different perspective, or try and understand, instead of just going into this, I don't like this. I don't understand it, so I'm just going to hate it. It's just sad. It feels like we've just made new, you know.
Yeah, we really haven't, honestly. Like, we haven't. And it's a shame.
Yeah. So yeah, I think like in this type of stuff, like when you see stuff that's hateful, it should just be removed. Like if it's hateful from just a purely just hateful perspective without any like really, you know, thought, like just hate, That type of stuff you should be able to scan for that and just remove it. If there's no real thought out response to why you don't like something or why you think this is not good, then it should be removed. Like the new Discord like terms or whatnot, they're like, we're actively going to be going through and finding things that are like hateful and hate filled and removing it, like getting rid of that and policing it. And I think that, and a lot of times I understand that like you want to have freedom of speech, but when it becomes hate speech, that type of stuff doesn't necessarily, need to be in what most people will consider to be a safe space. Like you don't want to have that. So when you see that type of stuff, like those type of reviews, Metacritic should be able to go through and be like, this is invalid. This is invalid. We're get rid of it.
To point out, like on the free speech thing, that's my favorite thing. When everyone's like, "Oh, free speech," like you guys understand that the First Amendment doesn't mean I'm allowed free speech regardless of how it says. Your free speech is you're allowed to have free speech against the government, and the government can't do anything. A private company does not have to allow you to say whatever the heck you want and have no consequences. That is not what the First Amendment says at all.
Nobody pays attention to what the amendment.
Oh, I'm aware, but they use
because
like
the Second Amendment has no. We don't use that at all for what it really was for. Like it does. The Second Amendment has like no point in this era.
But it's also like a total like catch-all, because as soon as you do that, they're like, oh, but my First Amendment free speech. And it's just like, that's not what the First Amendment is literally about. Yep. I hate that I even have to know this because I don't even live in the States, and it's just like, again. This is why decisions that affect the law in the United States matter so much over here, because our government tries to ad hoc be you. And it's just like, all right, cool. But on the topic that you brought up there, Delvin, of like the young kids who try to get into reviewing, while yes, it would suck if their stuff just stopped getting, you don't have to use Metacritic to review your games. Like, and I know it's like, Tumblr, like, yes, I use Tumblr all the time, and it's mostly blogs and all that. But there's quite a lot of stuff on Tumblr that's literally just like written like reviews. People use Tumblr as their own website, so you can just post your reviews there.
Also, OpenCritic.
Yep.
Yeah.
OpenCritic is even better because it actually, looks for review sites. Like you have to actually have a site where you've actually reviewed it and have the content to actually have your reviews posted there.
Yep.
Instead of just, I'm gonna go keyboard warrior type some crap on Metacritic. So.
Okay, wow. All right. You guys see that, right?
Yes.
Oh, did you get bit by something?
I don't even
just...
know. It's just from like staying on my armrest, I guess.
Vampire bit you.
I wish.
I knew you were going to say that. About she probably was going to say, I wish.
I'm the vampire girl. What do you want? You guys have seen my custom Discord status. It literally just says the vampire girl.
That it does. All right, well, I feel like we've been able to wrap that topic up. Let's move on to the next thing, which is this week on the PlayStation Store. There's some games coming in. Meh. I feel like
garbage.
What is this even? It is
shovelware is back.
I mean, pretty much. And even like the one thing they highlight, which is the Star Wars Episode 1 Pod Racer game, is like it's coming back. I'm just like,
okay. But also, this is why they killed the drop. Because it's all shovelware. So
I mean, who cares? Everybody's still playing The Last of Us. So
yeah,
I feel like that's gonna be what's on people's minds and topics for probably the rest of the month. Yeah,
we're only like 2.5 weeks, nearly 3 out from Ghost at this point.
Ghost of Tsushima. I can't wait. I'm excited for that one. That's gonna be a good one. Oh man, give me a samurai sword. Let me go nuts. Let's go, son.
Although I will say it's interesting to note now a lot of games are using Seattle instead of like New York or LA as locations, and it's nice to see difference. Like to bring up Days Gone again, that was in Oregon. You've got a bunch of games doing Seattle now, like Vampire the Masquerade is doing Seattle. The Last of Us is mostly in Seattle. Yeah.
We are embracing the Pacific Northwest for some reason all of a sudden.
Well, gee, I wonder why. Because it's got such a varying terrain, and it's also like a varying weather thing. Like it rains a lot, but also like you can do a lot of cool stuff with it.
Yeah, I wonder if we'll be able to go up and down the coast in Horizon, the Forbidden West.
When they posted that link about like, hey, here's like the detail, and they're like, hey, the map's bigger than the first one. Which, all right, awesome. I'm already sold. but also like the Forbidden West spans from like Utah to the West Coast, and it's like, all right, so that's a pretty big stretch of land. How much of that are we gonna notice though? Like,
right, we know San Francisco's in there, but
I
that's
mean,
about
yeah, you can see the Golden Gate Bridge in pieces, and also the Port of San Francisco building is underwater. Like,
yeah, that's gonna be a fun one.
oh, I'm so excited.
All right, we're just completely tangenting now. So that's going to do it for episode 38 of the PlayStation Experience. We hope you enjoyed yourself. Please feel free to holler at us and give us a follow over on the Twitters at PlayStation XP. Stop by our blog. Yes, we still have a blog at psvg.blog or our Discord at psvg.blog/discord and join us in our shenanigans there. Last but not least, we invite you to be a part of our Patreon over at patreon.com/psvg. If you enjoy our content here at PSVG, there's a ton of additional content to be had for just $3 a month. And with that in mind, we'd like to give a special thank you to our producers, Edwin Callow, Barry Cathcart, Josh the Bone Sawboard Bone, Chris McElfrish, Devin Tyus, myself, Kyle Hyman, Paul Calicote, Michael Mason, Grouchy Surge, and Nick Fall Harbor. Thank you so much for joining us in the journey that is PSVG. So with that, where can the people find you, Haley?
Find me over on Twitter at Shepard Zarel. Right now, it's mostly me just posting activism still and a couple Last of Us screenshots in there. Find me on your gaming platform of choice at Haley Zarel or Nintendo. If you ask for my friend code, you can find it that way. Because I'm not remembering a 16-digit code to add you on Switch. Once I finish The Last of Us Part 2, I will stream the game in its entirety, like start to finish, no skipping cutscenes or anything like that, while I work on Platinum Cleanup. Because, everybody knew I was going to Platinum this game anyways. And it's so nice to not have to play this game on Survivor and be able to get the Plat. Not that I have a problem with playing on Survivor, I don't want to force myself to play on a difficulty I don't have to for the Platinum. So,
yeah, I hear that.
I'm enjoying it. That's about it.
And Delvin, how many podcasts are you on this week?
62.
God knows how many. Just find me on Twitter at Delvin_Cox.
There it is. Straight to the point. All right. And with that, long live play.